Badlands. Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
This is where sustainable development was born. The Agenda 21 conference was in reaction to this. Hello and welcome. Welcome everybody to another episode of Brad and Abbey Live. Don't forget to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Today, we are going to be going over some of the awfulness of the Paris Olympics opening ceremony. It's very symbolic, of course. That's the type of stuff we'd like to look for. Remember, ceremony is a ritual. It was a ritual. There always are rituals. We're also going to go over some of the nuttiness with Kamala Harris, just because she's pretty awful.
Sounds great, babe. I'm excited. Yeah, 100%. Guys, thank you so much for your loves and prayers. I am a little hoarse still because I did end up getting pneumonia, so just bear with me. But yeah, doing really good now. And again, you guys are so awesome. The community of Badlands, all the loves and wishes you guys put out for me was really wonderful. I just wanted to let you guys know that. So, Brad, symbolism will be their downfall. That's right up our alley, isn't it? It's like, how could you not see it? It was in your face the whole time. We were mid-traveling, actually, or right before we were traveling for the Olympics opening ceremony. So I just saw what people were putting on X, and I was like, dear God, make it stop.
It kills me that I wasn't able to download the actual ceremony. As you guys have probably heard, I'll show you right here. It was taken down pretty much right away. They believe the reasoning behind this is because it looked like someone's gullions were hanging out.
It didn't just look like it.
I mean, yeah, they were, right, exactly. But it probably should have been taken down for a whole plethora of reasons. But I think that was probably the official reasoning. And that's what they're doing. They like to do a little cleanup whenever something goes awry. And then they do their little half-ass apologies. Should I play that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is the apology that was given.
Clearly, there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group. On the contrary, I think that Majorly really tried to really intend to celebrate community tolerance. That was his word. Yes.
So, first of all, she says, clearly there was no intent. Guys, clearly, the entire world totally noticed that. Even people who wouldn't typically even care about this, even people who aren't Christians, are like, damn, dude, that was bad. But no, clearly it wasn't meant to be intended, you effing retards. That's what she's saying right there. And then she starts smiling and says it was supposed to be tolerance, about celebrating tolerance. Well, you don't tolerate 2.2 billion Christians with this woke garbage display, and that's the joke. That's why they just want to push the envelope all the time. And also too, I just think there should be a reminder that the most famous transgender of all time is the Baphomet.
Was that for me? I thought you were going to play this.
I don't know.
Yes, 100%, Brad. Sorry, are you going to play the rest of it? Or is that the end of it?
I mean, that's it. I don't know.
Oh.
They just ramble on then after that.
Oh, my bad. I thought you were going to continue. Yeah, I do agree. That is something that when you do look into Luciferianism and the occult and how they program the children from a young age. It's always sexual activity and, a lot of, gay sexual activity and transgender and all that. So when you see that in the real world, that the very origins of it is satanic in definition. So seeing that, again, it didn't surprise me. Brad knows I can't even turn it off most of the time. I'll be like, look at that, all seeing eyes, symbols, and blah, blah, blah. It could be a little bit too much sometimes, but there are definite times on the world stage, for example, like the Olympics, that when they put that out there for everyone to see, it's not just, accidental. There is reasons why they do this. And it is definitely a ritual and is for the world. And we'll go into it actually. The backing behind all the things they show, the symbolism, it really does have a very dark meaning behind it all. So just exposing themselves more and more.
And it's always like when it's a combination of things, right? Obviously things happen. A mistake here and there could happen. When something's so blatant 20 times in a row, it means something. And say, for instance, with the transgender thing, there are definitely people out there who feel like they were born in the wrong body. And this is, if you live in America at very least, and probably most of Europe and other places, and you grow up, you're allowed to try and remedy that. That's part of being America. It's part of having freedom. But just the whole saturating society with it, and especially things that are meant for families, and the Olympics supposed to be a family event, and saturating family events with this sort of stuff is when it starts to become sinister, because it's not just that. You have a whole array of things. So for one, here's a picture of Snoop Dogg, who was carrying the torch. Yep. And here he is. That's the necklace that looks like the Baphomet. Now Snoop Dogg came out and he said, "Oh, you silly idiots, that's just a goat necklace, because it means, the goat, greatest of all time." Dude, you can't be this unaware. Snoop Dogg's definitely not that unaware. It's just what it is. He wore a effing Baphomet necklace.
I don't know what y'all thought this was, but this is the GOAT. I had this made because somebody told me I was the GOAT. So I wanted to make me a GOAT chain. All that other shit y'all talking about, I don't know what y'all talking about, but this is the GOAT. Greatest of all time. With a blue diamond on his head. Gold. GOAT. Right.
So let's look up the Baphomet, right? By Levi something or other. Let's go share this instead.
There you go.
It looks much more like the Baphomet than just your random goat. It's got the same exact long face. Go back here. Actually, you know what? Let me just put up the picture. Yeah.
And so really what I was thinking about the symbolism as far as the deep meaning of this, if you don't mind me talking about it, is the core of Luciferianism is do what thou wilt. Do what thou wilt. That means there's no morals. There's no boundaries. And again, I have talked to Brad about, it's funny how morality actually is the stepping stone to evolving as a human race. But that's a separate subject. So if it's do what thou wilt, it's the opposite. No morals, decay of society, fall of man, right? Abuse of children, quite literally sacrifices of young children, all these terrible things. And so the theme there is they obviously presented, and we'll go through some of the other things, but, Baphomet, that he was present, that the dark one is there, and that the people on stage are going to do what thou wilt. They're going to practice in idolatry in front of our eyes. And that, again, we'll go into the golden calf, which the golden calf was really the abandonment of God. They believed God couldn't save them. So the Israelites made the golden calf and worshiped that, while Moses was trying to get the 10 Commandments, which represent morals. thou shalt not kill, love thy neighbor as thyself, not do as thou wilt. So when you look into what they were projecting, it is, and I know I sound crazy, or some people might go, well, that's far out, Abby, but it's true. I see like satanic in nature. And yeah, sorry, babe.
No,
Sometimes when I even
don't
hear
give in to
myself
them.
saying
That doesn't
it,
sound crazy to me.
yeah, sometimes when I hear myself saying it, did I ever think 5 years ago I'd be, live streaming here on Badlands and be openly saying that? I would have not. But we've come to that time in the world now where we kind of have to make a stand, draw a line in the sand. And I'm all about peace and love with, the world. But when that infringes upon our rights and my belief as a Christian, then I have to draw that line in the sand. And I think that's kind of where we're coming to here. Yeah, and see, and now that it says they had a feast and everything.
I was muted the whole effing time. All right.
Oh no!
It's okay.
Oh no!
Well,
you should
guys
read it.
can read it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, sorry, Brad. I heard you, but yeah, you were muted. But yeah, so basically, the Israelites were like, they made this golden calf and they did sacrifices to it. Not exactly sure what it said, burnt offerings and things like that. And it reminded me of in the opening ceremony when they had the drag queen men representing the Last Supper. And then, of course, they had that guy on the platter, and that represents the feast and all this stuff. And it was just so reminiscent to this same old story.
This is another one of the bridges, a little bit farther down. This is the bridge very close to the Eiffel Tower. And if we talk about food, we talk about music, we also talk about fashion. So many of those things so ingrained in French culture. A little bit of a party time now.
Yeah.
We saw a red carpet earlier. When you think of red carpets around the world, nothing matches the red carpet in Paris. The fashion show in France in the spring brings the beautiful people from around the world. Every designer comes here, so you knew Kelly in the opening ceremony.
Oh my
tribute to a fashion show.
And on this bridge, this is incredibly cool. And that is a wet floor, do not slip.
That is insane. It's such a crazy show. And I'll play this one. This was a compilation of the opening.
Ça ira, as I said, ça ira, all will be well.
Well, this part of the ceremony is entitled Liberty and the Quest for Liberty.
Performing the song King, costumes
Yeah, so obviously, that's a mockery of the Last Supper. That's what everyone's been talking about. And it just shows what these people think of us. They hate us with all their heart. The lady started laughing, smiling as she was apologizing, but clearly it wasn't meant to offend anyone. Then, of course, what I was reading there from Exodus about the golden calf, you have, I got it from a few different angles because I saw a debunk on this, obviously. Whatever it is, they have it to look gold, right? Yeah. It's from another angle. Either they polished it up with gold or they have a light on it that's making it look gold. But I have from several angles, they highlighted it. They covered everything else. They covered the fountains and they covered everything else except for this, which they made sure, there's a deer here too, but they made sure it was a golden calf prominently featured. Now, here is, let's see, I got, and go here. So this is what it's taken from, right?
Oh, wow. Street view.
So this is the calf in the background here. These are all covered. This is where the steps are coming down. They have obviously all this. It's all covered up except the calf, which is totally made to look prominent. If you go back here, see everything's covered up. This is where all the fountains are, all the other stuff. There's all stage everywhere except for that, which is not in the way of anything. They made sure to feature it. Now, if you go to look at pictures of it, most just look dark brown. All of a sudden now, some of the ones are starting to come up looking a little more golder as it's coming out. I think that's interesting. Earlier today, they weren't even coming up like this. This is literally just in the last hour now. All of a sudden, they're starting to pop up like this.
I was going to say, I can verify that because Brad was looking at this earlier and he's like, what the heck? Did they coat it? Did they, paint it? Is there a light? Because people are like, no, it's not gold. And he was looking and those ones weren't there and now they're there. So that's interesting.
Right. And then here's the high def picture of it. And, it's bronze. I believe it's a bronze statue. And so for whatever reason, it was made to look prominent like that. So that's something right off that's about worshiping a fallen idol or false idols, golden calf. Then you have Snoop Dogg wearing a literal Baphomet necklace. Then you have dudes with beards and dresses and cross-dressers recreating the Last Supper. It's absolutely disgusting. And then you have the Behold. Should we play that? The Pale Horse?
The Pale Horse? Yeah, let's do
I don't know where it is.
First.
Yeah.
Let me click it.
Translated to solidarity, a call to the world. If you recognize that bridge, that's Ponta Austerlitz, where the parade and flotilla of boats down the Seine started about 3.7 miles and a few hours ago. And we have a rider on horse galloping on the Seine, which the creators tell us is a representation of the Olympic spirit, carrying the Olympic flag. And those who remember past Olympic ceremonies know that part of the protocol at the opening ceremony in the stadium, be it temporary here, includes the arrival of the Olympic flag, and it's going to make the same journey the athletes did. Down.
Wow. And I looked, and before me was a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades followed close behind him. And they were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the beasts of the earth. You know, I also found it interesting right here. I wondered why they had these gigantic wings in the background. It seemed kind of out of place, didn't seem like it made a whole lot of sense to me. But then if you just took a picture at just the right angle, there we go. You see, just the right angle, and you got yourself some rather angelic wings there, don't you? The four horsemen of the apocalypse, Revelation 6. The fourth horseman, the fourth seal, the pale horse, brings a whole lot of nasty stuff. Opening ceremonies at the Paris Olympic Games have been absolutely something to watch, the open mocking of God. I did a video last night that showed the depiction of the Last Supper that these people did, mocking Jesus. You know, I always thought that the opening ceremonies were supposed to show what the hosting country had to offer, show the rest of the world. If this is what France has to offer,
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so then it came in with an actual pale horse. The guy looked like a Grim Reaper type on top of it. This is exactly what they want. They want a reaction. Well, they're getting it. There's been a huge backlash, and rightfully so. And these people have been doing this forever, right? It's one of the biggest red pills I remember early on was look at the award ceremonies, look at the Grammys or the Oscars, and they'll have these big ceremonies, and they'll all have, say, black and white checkerboards on the ground, which is supposed to be the Masonic symbol, right? Or they'll all have pyramids and stuff like that, or they'll just straight up be fire and satanic. This is what they do. So there must be something to the ritualistic nature. There must be some sort of conjuring of energy or something to that effect. Clearly, they do not miss a beat. They use every chance they can to use one of these big ceremonies to push this sort of symbolic stuff. And it's in every single one.
Yeah. Oh man, Brad. Exactly. And you know, I don't claim to have it figured out, but you know, we've all been taught to look for patterns. And because of what I've researched about the cult, their rituals are very important to them. They still do it to this day. They've done it for thousands of years. If you think that this is new, it's not. They did it openly for a while. And then when we got into kind of the turns of century, they had to go more underground, like the Bavarian and Illuminati cult, but they still currently do it, practice it also through the Masonic lodges is kind of like the funneling point to get people into that cult. Also Skull and Bones. There's so many. But what I see here is they're trying to put it out in the public for the kids to see, for the programming, for the propaganda to get into their minds to go, oh, this is acceptable, I guess. Headless people is acceptable, I guess. Transgender men with their whatever hee-haws hanging out with young children right there. Oh, I guess we'll accept that. And it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And then the other thing that you had mentioned to me was that blue Smurf guy that is served on the platter, which is also satanic in nature. He represents the god Dionysus. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Dionysus.
Which is the Greek god of wine, fertility, festivities, ecstasy, and theater, served on a platter in front of numerous drag queens. That's the epitome of it's just, the darkness is disgusting. The darkness is evil and gross, and they're putting it right in our faces now. But I am very happy about the pushback. And, you know, even though it was meant for evil, God often does this where he'll take something meant for evil and he turns it for good and for his glory. And there's many things that happened after this, where one of the things is a power outage in Paris, whether you want to believe that was God's divine intervention or not. But when that happened, the only thing that was staying lit was a church, which was very, very beautiful. You'll see it there in the background, but I have an image of it here. Let's see, pull it up. So that is what stayed lit when all the rest of Paris went black. So I thought that was really, really cool. And also there was a big revival that happened there the next day as well. So it does show you that even though, the evil is being presented, it gives people more courage to push back against it. And I love seeing that. I love seeing that.
I love seeing it too. And everything that happens these last however many years now, the pushback is just getting worse and worse for them. Now everyone's paying attention. All these people thought they didn't have to, or that people were exaggerating when they would say stuff like this, have realized, oh man, I guess they weren't exaggerating. And now they're starting to push back with us. And this is going to be the great unifier. There's another thing. And this is the sigil of Lucifer. Yes. Okay. So it's kind of like cross beams. Well, this was a post right here that I saw. I made a good point about the light show.
Wow. Look at that.
It's cross beams of light. Look, there's a big triangle at the top, big triangle. Now, they were going back and forth, but they kept crossing. They'd go out and then they'd cross like this, sigil of Lucifer. They'd go out and then cross like this, sigil of Lucifer. So this is literally the almost spot on right there. And then, and then this symbolism will be their downfall.
And of course, a lot of the times in the occult, the symbols will transfer over, as I put here. Like that's the symbol for the Vatican, the keys. The bottom left is for the Masonic lodges, and the right is the Luciferian symbol. So they are intertwined, and they like to do that. It's a way they can show it in the public, but not actually say it. And they think they're clever, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
Can I play that video of what happened in Paris the day after this event?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I just thought it was pretty cool enough.
Now people are saying, some people were saying that that's actually an event that had happened, and what they're doing is they're calling for another event like that. It was just, but that was everyone was there for Jesus. That was just an uprising for Jesus. So people are saying that should happen again, and it very well might. I wouldn't be surprised. At the very least, the blackout with that church staying lit, I think, was a definite biblical response to what happened.
Thanks for correcting me. I hadn't known about that, but I gotta go back here because I realized I didn't play the clip with William Cooper when we were showing the clips of the pale horse. That is in the book of Revelation, and it talks about the 4 horsemen that ride across the earth, and it's pretty symbolic. My take of it is about the ages of man on earth. And the 4th horseman is the one on the pale horse, and he represents death, and Hades follows with him, which is basically Lucifer. So it was.
You read your Bible, sirs.
So it was interesting they're putting that in there so blatantly, but it reminded me of this great clip of an interview with William Cooper when he's talking about his book, Behold the Pale Horse.
The title of your book, Behold a Pale Horse, what significance does that have? What are you saying with this title?
This title is from the book of Revelations, because I have to tell you this, and you may think I'm nuts if you want to, but this is the truth. Either these men are following the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is in the Bible. Mm-hmm. They're either following it, just like a plan, and bringing the prophecies in there to pass to manipulate and control those who believe in those prophecies and neutralize them, so to speak. In other words, if this is written in the Bible and God has ordained it, who am I to resist? It must come to pass, so I'm not going to try to stop it.
Okay.
What a perfect way to neutralize the opposition right off the bat. Or there really is a God, and what he said was going to come to pass is coming to pass. And I named this, Behold a Pale Horse, from chapter 13 of the book of Revelations. The fourth horse, the fourth horseman of the apocalypse is the pale horse. And I looked, and behold a pale horse, and his name that sat upon him was Death. And hell followed with him, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with sword, and with hunger, and with the beasts of the earth. And that is taking place now today. The fourth horseman is riding across the world now. That's what AIDS is all about. That's what all these little brush fire wars all over the world are all about. That's what's happening. That's why cancer cures are suppressed. It's because they fully intend to kill a minimum of 2 billion people by the year 2000. AIDS is an invention of man. It is not a natural disease, and it has been implemented and placed into the population as a population control. And when they did it, they had the cure before they did it. And when they deem that enough people have died or been killed, they will say, we have a cure for AIDS. And everybody will be called to report to some place to get an inoculation, which is going to do two things. One, it's going to stop AIDS in its tracks. And number two, it's going to implant a device which will be able to be used to track each individual person and maybe even to control those people.
Yeah. I love that breakdown where you could, that's from the early 90s. And he had eyes to see, man. He was giving up the goat for them, basically. And it's interesting because that was when, early 90s, when all the AIDS stuff was happening. Fauci was the main guy behind the scenes, leading the charge, the fight against AIDS. And there was actually even protests back then against them for people who they were hip to Fauci long before any of this. And AIDS didn't seem to do what they thought it might do, but it looks like COVID was their second chance because everything he says about how the inoculation will be kind of a secondary farce, right? That's gonna both the disease and then also the cure will both be able to hurt, and they're trying to extinct people. And again, Fauci was the one leading that. The only difference is instead of doing it behind the scenes, Trump went, hey guy, why don't you tell them about what's going on? And then made him go in front of, I don't know what's going on, in front of the camera for probably the first time in his life, more than likely. And it was wonderful. That was definitely done on purpose. I think Trump had this levied on him, right? This was an A-bomb that they dropped on him, the whole movement and everything. And a part of mitigating the damage was throwing it right in their face and making them be the poster children for it.
Yeah, in the past, I do remember me going like, why would he appoint that person? Or why would he blah, blah, blah. Then later on, I realized, well, these people were just in line, basically next in order. And so Fauci was the next one up because there was that other lady before him. I'm not sure what happened. It was pretty brief.
Well, they both went kind of at the same time, Burks.
Yes.
Yeah, but they were there. He didn't really appoint no one. He just put them in front of a camera, but they had been there. Obviously, he had been there since the AIDS epidemic, since the 80s. So he pretty much just pulled them out of the shadows, and I love it.
Yeah, and so that's just something I have noticed looking back, is that Trump would do that, bring people to the light. Because when they're in the light, then we can see what they're doing. Now, the deep state really panicked because that's when all the censorship started happening, full, like hardcore, is because they were brought in the light. And of course, Anon's how we are. We're like, well, let's look into this. And Brad and I can tell you, I have not seen, like, the Wayback Machine that we use to look up and, websites that were archived that have been removed. I have seen with my very own eyes, like I had seen them the day before. I looked them up. Thank goodness I downloaded some that I could. You go back, they're gone. They're gone. This happened to a lot of CIA files that I was looking into one time about climate change. then that's a separate story. But it just shows you, truly they're afraid of us. They're afraid of the light. They're afraid of the knowledge of truth. And that's why when Trump would bring these people forward, even though we got upset at the policies and things they were doing, that is what we had to experience to know that's not what we want, right? So you have to feel the pain to know that communism sucks, to know that socialism sucks, right? I think that's what the whole Biden 4 years of pain has been, is for the rest of the public to just get shooken up. Like there's the regular people that woke up with the alarm clock. Those are the people that you're like, wake up. So that's where we're at right now.
Oh yeah. So there's this total spiritual awakening, which is being forced out with stuff like this and the reaction to this, and it's making people go, hey man, maybe I should start reading the Bible a little more, especially since it makes you realize that these people think it's definitely real. Okay. But then there's also, again, just the regular normal wake up, which is happening because of stuff like Biden and now Kamala, and we're going to get into her here in a minute. In fact, I think this is a perfect time to thank our sponsors real quick. And then we have some Kamala cringe coming right up. The 2024 election is approaching, bringing a potential major impact on our finances with $6 trillion in taxes in play. It's a great time to consider buying gold. Gold prices have been soaring lately as more people turn to gold to safeguard their assets against the looming threat of recession or debt-induced currency crisis. Join the thousands of hardworking Americans who are taking proactive steps to safeguard their savings with Goldco. With over 10 years of experience, Goldco has established itself as a top player in the gold industry. Their buyback guarantee assures that if your situation changes, they will repurchase your metals at the best price, providing you with peace of mind. Goldco has your back and is committed to supporting you and your financial security. Let them help you safeguard your financial well-being from whatever crisis may strike next. Head over to badlandsgold.com today to claim your free gold and silver kit. You may even qualify for up to 10% back in bonus silver. Visit badlandsgold.com and take control of your financial destiny. Yeah, so thank you guys. Thank you, Goldco, for sponsoring the show. And I wanted to show this too, just before we put a bow on all this. I thought this was cool. This is Harrison Butker, the football player, and he had posted Galatians 6:7-8. Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For what things a man shall sow, those also shall he reap. For he that soweth in his flesh, of the flesh also shall reap corruption. But he that soweth in the Spirit, of the Spirit shall reap life everlasting. So it's just cool. It's kind of provoking people to do stuff like that. Post some verses that are pretty well going. Now, they were even at one point trying to say that it might not have been the Last Supper. Our buddy Zenon Machiavelli here, he seems to think it was The View.
Yeah.
You zoom in, it's a little hard to tell, guys. But I thought that was pretty freaking great. And lastly, we have President Trump's reaction, which is pretty much on par with what you guys would expect.
Have you watched any of the Olympics?
I thought that the opening ceremony was a disgrace, actually. I thought it was a disgrace.
The mocking of the Last Supper.
I thought it was
Catholics and Christians across the globe are outraged.
I mean, they can do certain things. I thought it was terrible.
Can you say at the next Olympics, if you're present, you'll have enough influence on the organizers that we won't be, insulting Christians?
We won't be having a Last Supper as portrayed the way they portrayed it the other night. I just think, look, I'm for everybody. I'm very open-minded. You understand. Yeah. You know me better than most people know me. I'm very open-minded. But I thought what they did was a disgrace.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click.
Yeah. So I agree 100% with that.
Yeah, I always love Trump's takes about those things. He has some takes that people might not think are so popular, but he really just is for freedom. And when he says open-minded, he's saying freedom. And a lot of us, we do draw that line in the sand when it comes to the children, because that is a whole separate realm. And I've heard the gay community, transgender community agree that that's wrong, that they get children involved and try to make it hip and try to get into their minds. I mean, we have government funded programs to be able to talk to your children behind your back and have them get a sex change. That should not be legal. And that shouldn't have anything to do with the LGBTQ community, whatever. Like, that's just a separate story. And, that should be addressed. And so I really like Trump's take on that. It was really good. I hadn't seen that.
Oh yeah, and it's being addressed by some people who are pulling their ads. C-Spire, it's a Mississippi tech company, they pulled their ads from the Olympics, and what they said was, they said C-Spire is supportive of our athletes who have worked so hard to be a part of the Olympics. I agree. However, we will not be a part of the offensive and unacceptable mockery of the Last Supper, which is why we're pulling our advertising from the Olympics. I love it. And the Last Supper of all things too is, that's the end. Jesus is about to be brutally murdered by lunatics, basically, and evil people, just for standing up for morality and being a good person. So the fact that they're specifically mocked that, it was disgusting. They're disgusting people that put on these shows and in these elite groups, and they sit around and they have weird ceremonies and odd stuff. These are the same type of people who will be like, Bohemian Grove is just a fun place where we get together. You guys are taking it too seriously. It's like, well, that's what you do for fun. You have people in black robes come out and burn fake effigies in front of Moloch statues. I don't know. It's just weird to me. It's the same people who talk about what a wonderful, brilliant artist Marina Abramovic is. As she carves pentagrams into her stomach, stands inside flaming pentagrams, and then writes blood curses on walls and like covers the entire room with blood. Anyway, if this is what it means to be in the elite upper echelons of society, I'm very happy where we are right now.
And see, and that's the thing that the Luciferians hate the most. That is why they hate Jesus, because he broke that curse. He took the same system, the sacrificial system, and I did see someone mentioned that in here, a really good point. But he took that system and he put himself in it, and he broke the curse, right? So that we don't have to keep on doing this loop of dying and sinning and dying and sinning, because that wasn't God's intention. So that's why America is such a beautiful thing. It was based on Christian values, is because it's forever expanding. It's forever growing. It's for freedom. It's for truth. And that's why this fight isn't just Republican and Democrat, other countries versus other countries. It's really a battle of good and evil. It really is. Once your eyes are opened and you have eyes that can see and ears that can hear. And the thing about the MAGA community is we are the awoken ones. This is the Great Awakening. We are actually seeing it right now, and we're at full force. And the beautiful thing about it is, even though we have truth and knowledge on our side and we know that the evil one is real, we don't have fear, because we know we are in the path of righteousness, and we're not violent. We don't lie and try to assassinate presidents like I think I won't say, but entities have, because they're evil and they're corrupt. And so anyways, I feel like no matter what, we are on the right path. And that's why I go to bed good at night and just know that I'm doing the right thing. And all of you guys and you too, Brad. And it's crazy covering this stuff, because it's heavy and it's dark, but that's what we're called to do.
But it could also be funny. Don't forget, guys, doesn't always have to be heavy. It's with the lying part. I'm going to go right here, because I know you guys are going to love this. I'm going to play this clip really quick, but this is ABC News. And He says Trump tells voters they don't have to vote again if he's elected.
The race for the White House is, of course, heating up with less than 100 days to go before the election. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump both spent the weekend on the campaign trail. ABC's Christine Cordero has the latest.
Good morning. Both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump have sharpened their attacks on each other. This morning, despite the party's support and record-breaking donations, more than $200 million raised since entering the race, likely Democratic presidential nominee Vice President Kamala Harris considers herself an underdog.
We're the underdogs in this race. But this is a people power campaign. And we have momentum.
In Minnesota, former President Donald Trump continued his attacks on President Biden before turning to his new opponent. But these remarks from Trump got the most attention.
You got to get out and vote. In 4 years, you don't have to vote again. We'll have it fixed so good you're not going to have to vote.
Congressional Republicans also sharp.
Okay, so I'm just going to leave it there. So they just clipped that to make it sound like he's telling people you don't ever have to vote again. When you look at the full comment, when the full thing of that speech, he says Christian voters who typically don't vote. So I've also seen him say he tells Christians not to vote. No, it wasn't just Christians. It was specifically the ones that don't vote. Okay. Donald Trump says for Christian voters that don't vote, all you have to do is do once and then, you don't have to again. That's it. He was just telling to people who don't usually vote. Now, look at the comments here. This is right on ABC 7. Okay. These are all the top comments. He told Christian voters that never vote to vote this time. Again, Christian voters that never vote. Top comment. So people are not falling for it anymore. Is ABC the new CNN? Stop lying about this. People, check for yourself. He also said he only had 4 years. He acknowledged that he only had one term left. What is wrong with the media? Misinformation from our media press? Oh, say it ain't so. That's called selective editing, and it's extremely dishonest. Stop lying to the people. Fake news. Stop using edited footage. Gaslighting and out of context. And it goes on, every single one. So this is, to me, this is some great awakening stuff. We've been seeing this happen more and more. These are the people who are standing up and pushing back against this dishonest reporting right here. Okay, now there's also, talk about dishonest. I'm going to play this. This is a PAC that gets their money. Let's say won't pack down. Okay. They're an Act Blue deal right here.
That's all I need to know.
Yeah. And this is what they just released, and it's so absurd.
Us MAGA Republicans banned abortion, but that's just the start.
That's just the start. If Trump gets elected, we want the government involved in all aspects of your sex life.
Way more involved.
Way more involved. When you have sexual intercourse, it should be illegal to use contraception. No pills, no condoms.
Your genitals are reserved for procreation.
If you freeze 12 eggs, you should be required to have 12 babies, or else you're a serial killer. And I'm definitely not a serial killer.
Are you?
My son monitors my porn usage to make sure I'm not self-pleasuring.
Just like Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. That's true, you can look it up.
Don't you think that's normal?
Yeah, I do.
It's normal for your son to do that.
You should have a family member monitor your porn use too.
Because pleasuring yourself is very, very naughty.
I'm voting in November.
I'm voting in November. We're all voting in November. Are you?
Because what happens in your bedroom is up to me.
Is up to me and my son. Also, mouth stuff is a sin.
Okay, these are the people. Someone who would make that is what we're up against here, guys. First of all, this is what they think we are, just gross losers, which is ironic. So I'm not showing you for that because we know how these people are. This is also for the comments. This is why I'm putting this up. Okay, this one was great. Democrats need to hire actors so they play, quote, weird. Republicans just need to randomly select any actual event from the Democrats to prove who the weird is. All real here, guys. Okay? This is your side, you fucking weirdos from Salty Cracker. This is, oh my God. Great actors. They managed to catch, the average MAGA voter. People on that side are so arrogant. They actually think that's a depiction of us. If JD is weird, what do you call this? Okay, here we go. Actually happened. Femdog. JD Vance is weird. Quote. This is it's something Brit, right? This was in Biden's cabinet, this guy, guys. And then he got caught robbing luggage. Yeah. Yeah, remember that? He goes, here, speaking of weird, here's a whole little I love it. This is how new this is.
They got fingernail guy over in Iran or whatever on the top right, the top left. Oh my gosh, it's crazy.
Ugh. Shut up, loser. Oh my God, it never ends. Oh, here's Mark Hamill. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the Mark Hamill one. Is that okay?
Yeah, dude.
Okay. We also have something here for Mark Hamill, guys. It's totally normal. Mark Hamill just shared a White Dudes for Harris sign-up form. Okay, so they're doing White Dudes for Harris.
When I meet people,
I'm not going to play this whole thing.
I'm a working actor. I think more recently, I'm much more like a professional selfie taker. I take selfies all the time in the airports, in the supermarkets, on the streets, always selfies. And I ask them, you don't have to tell me who you're going to vote for. Are you registered? That's the most important thing. I saw a statistic, it was on the internet, so take it with a grain of salt, that 40 million registered Democrats didn't vote in 2020, which is astonishing.
I thought 81
I tell people, go to
Democrats voted.
It's very simple. You can go to their website. You can find out.
I thought every Democrat on planet Earth voted. That's so weird. Okay, yeah. Okay, so anyway, the whole thing is they have a thing called the White Dudes for Harris. Gosh, the cringe can't get any worse.
Is making them accept these terms. You know what I mean? This is all part of demoralization.
Yeah.
Also, this poor man. Can you imagine sitting there and simping for the Biden Harris campaign? Like, I thought he hit low with that Star Wars thing where he just disappeared or whatever the frick that was. But this is bad. This is so bad. I'm so sorry. It's not the Luke I know. I don't really even think it's really him. I kind of block that as a separate compartment.
He's Luke with 2 U's. Like one person might have got that. So, dude, do you remember after before The Last Jedi was released, when they were doing the press tour, he was doing interviews, and he just looked like he couldn't have been more depressed about it. And he was like, he tried to warn. There's montages where he's like, well, I don't know, you guys might like it. And he was clearly knew what it was about to be. And I felt so bad for him at the time. And now, honestly, I'm so glad was JJ? No, Ryan. I don't even remember. Ryan Johnson. I blocked it all from my memory. I'm so glad he did that to Mark Hamill and Luke Skywalker. And it's okay. You ruined some of our childhood heroes. But Mark Hamill effing deserves that, to have his beloved character thrown in the garbage like that. So they have White Dudes for Trump, for White Dudes for Harris. And we have a response from this guy.
You want to know why I'm here to support President Trump? Because they done did black men like this for decades. Make up charges and put them, so I know Trump is innocent. I support Trump against this corrupt, two-tiered justice system. That's why I'm here to show my support as a black man for Trump. And I'm wearing my shirt, Niggas for Trump 2024, and I mean that.
Yeah.
Oh, man, what a time to be alive, right? But know what I love, though? Have you seen this? The whole area that they keep trying to push Trump supporters are switching for Harris. Have you seen it? They're so excited about Kamala now.
You seen that in the dark corners of the internet?
Well, it's what they're pushing. Oh no, they're pushing it everywhere now. They have people who are posting stuff like this. Here, let me show you an example. So this is just one that has popped up on my feed, but I've been seeing it everywhere. I just spoke to a rural white man from a small town in Iowa, population 1,000. a family acquaintance. We usually don't talk politics, but he just reached out to tell me how excited he is to vote for Kamala. I mean, LFG. Am I right? Oh,
Wow.
yeah, right. Yeah, and then everyone clapped. Give me an effing break. These people, I don't know who this works on, but it must work on a small contingency because they certainly keep paying for it. But I love it's just like, hey, I know you want to talk politics, but first, what's the population of your town? It's important, trust me. I need to know. Okay, I'm going to be posting them on this later.
It's funny that they think people would be that stupid. Here's the thing. This is Kamala, Joe's VP. You think the policies have changed? They're the same effing policies. What is
They
it?
think
Bring
she's
back
worse.
better? What is the heck is? I don't even know what his campaign was. Nothing's going to change. Now, most people can go to the grocery store and go, oh crap, I'm paying twice, double the amount for my groceries this year that I did like last year, maybe like 2 years. I'm telling you, it's doubled. It's been doubled here. That's something people can see. So if that's Joe Biden's policies, that's what Kamala's policies will be like. Nothing is going to change. There are no Trump voters that are going, yay, Kamala. No way. Twilight Zone, or this lady's like a troll or something. I have no idea. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're living in a fantasy. Now they're pushing it all the places, right? Oh, people are switching from Trump to Kamala. They're trying it. Definitely no one is. That's out of their minds. And they're doing stuff like this even where they're trying to make it sound like something when it's something else. I'm not going to play this whole clip, but here is something where if you're just scrolling past, you see, quote, everyone is excited about her, and that scares me. Female Trump voters on Harris. And now here's the lead-in, and then I'm going to show you the actual panel. I should just show the panel, but I'm going to show this first.
From Green Bay, Wisconsin, former aide to the George W. Bush White House and State Department, Elise Jordan. She's an MSNBC political analyst, and she sat down with Wisconsin voters last night to get their thoughts on the election. So first, Elise, tell us about who these voters are that you spoke with.
Hi, Mika. So last night I sat down with two groups of Wisconsin voters, the all-important voters in this state where around 20,000 votes decided the last two presidential elections. We spoke to a group of female Trump supporters, and then we spoke to a group of right-leaning swing voters to hear what they thought about the recent shakeup in the election and how they see the campaign. Now,
Okay, so they had this lead in, right? And I thought, oh, here we go. We're going to get Trump supporters who are like, I like Harris and all this stuff, right? And I was trying to read the comments. I couldn't really get a gauge. But the panel is actually great. Here's the panel. And so they make it seem like, right, it's going to be bad.
Do you think that having Vice President Kamala Harris as the nominee dramatically changes Donald Trump's odds of winning?
I'm worried about it.
Yes.
I think she's going to go for the minority and female and younger voters.
Progressive. Everybody's excited about her. Right. And that scares me. Right. You know, because Trump has to reconfigure where he's going and how they're going to outsmart her.
How do you perceive Vice President Harris compared to President Biden in terms of competency and experience?
I think she's worse. She doesn't even know what's going on at the border.
Right.
And that's what she was supposed to be doing and in charge of. I mean, as a school teacher, if I did not do what I was supposed to be doing, you better believe my job would be in jeopardy. Well, it isn't. It not only was her job not in jeopardy, she was just handed a promotion.
Is there anyone that Kamala Harris could appoint as her vice president that you would find reassuring, would make you consider voting for her?
No. I would do RFK Jr. way before her.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And she's not the first woman to run for the presidency, Hillary Clinton. I'm assuming no one voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. So it's not necessarily going to sway you to vote for a woman in office. When do you think America will have a female president?
When there's a competent one.
I don't get a good feel for her.
I think she's an idiot.
Right.
Mary, why do you think that she's not that bright?
Because she hasn't done anything in the time that she's had. We don't know anything about her as far as her 3 years so far in the White House. She's not real smart. That's my opinion. I could be wrong.
If Vice President Kamala Harris wins the election, do you think that will be an honest result?
No. No one respects her.
So anyway, the way they set it up, it was like it was going to be like this. Well, now that Kamala's Harris, I'm thinking about voting for her. It was like, nope. Yeah, they actually felt like they liked her less than Biden. Now, wait, hold on. Yeah, let me think about you.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I feel like they just took that for a talking point, just for that title. So that it looks like, oh, there's some people that are moving over from Trump. But it's like, none of them, they're like, no, we'd never vote for it. No, never, ever. So again, fake news, being busy as usual. That was actually really good to see. But I would have, if I was on that panel, I'd be like, bro, I can't even be on this panel. There's no way that she'd ever be good. They're destroying America. Wake up.
Wake up! You are the people they warned us about. They warned us about people like you. Oh man, I hope people know what that is.
I know what it is, babe. I don't think we have to upload it in here, so yeah, they wouldn't know.
We've definitely played it before on the show, but there was some of those comments I was reading yesterday when I was looking at that, and I forget, someone was like, they don't even know what Kamala Harris did. She did nothing. They literally hid her away. That's not some sort of right-wing conspiracy theory. They made sure she was not on camera. She was never presented for anything. I mean, there's some videos if you want to dig for them. But she was pretty much hidden away from the public for an entire time, except for one single thing, where she was publicly announced as the person who was going to fix the border. Then she wouldn't even go there, and people were saying to her, and again, this is 3 years ago, people were saying, hey, didn't your administration just declare you're the person who's going to fix the border? Why aren't you there? And she goes, and then she finally went there like once, and what has happened? Nothing. The border has gotten infinitely worse since their administration was in, and this is one thing that she was deemed to be in charge of, at least for optics, for whatever reason. One job, and it was the biggest failure in American history, to the point where now the fake news is doing what they do best, and they're trying to say, well, she was never actually border czar. That's a right-wing conspiracy theory. And then people are turning around finding their own articles, yes, and showing them and saying, you yourself wrote about it. What are you talking about? It just goes to show that they'll say whatever they need to say at the time. But it's just been really wonderful watching them having the e-crow.
Yeah, Elon's been on top of that. Like basically this didn't age well type of posts where they're just trying to, I saw that about the czar, trying to debunk it. And it's like, bro, you wrote about this 2 years ago. You should just go check it out yourself. But I absolutely love it. Oh, babe, can we play that farce video that,
yes,
that Elon posted with Kamala? And then of course, I don't have anything pulled up about it, but there's obviously pushback. This is just a farce ad of Kamala Harris's campaign, and there's been a massive uproar about this. So I'll play it real quick.
I, Kamala Harris, am your Democrat candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility at the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time.
Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression.
So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type.
And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking.
The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
And just remember, when voting this November, it is important to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. And by what has been, I mean Joe Biden. Do you think the country went to shit over the past 4 years? You ain't seen nothing yet.
Gillette. Well, I can tell you about a logo on the end. I guess I didn't watch that far, but that's Mr. Reagan. I used to like him. He's on YouTube. I haven't watched his channel in a long time. But yeah.
Cool. That was great. that was brilliant video editing and everything. And then of course Elon had posted that. And it's just great. So I wanted to, I don't know if I can share this. Hold on, guys.
You want to send it to me?
Hold on. I think I could do that.
Sweet.
Share screen. We're getting hardcore now, guys. Okay,
boom.
did I get it? Is this it? All right, here we go. So because of this, fake Kamala Harris video prompts latest beef between Gavin Newsom and Elon Musk. This is the part I want to focus on here. So I guess Newsom said this. He said, manipulating a voice in an ad like this one should be illegal. Newsom posted on X Sunday night. I'll be signing a bill in a matter of weeks to make sure it is. Now, I was like, Joel Brad, that's a violation of your First Amendment right. See, we have the right to express and put things out there, put things on social media. If you use an AI voice, you use an AI voice. If they make something like this illegal, that is the slipperiest slope you will ever go down. You will have thought police that you can't even do anything. It's just like that George Orwell book, which I can't think of the name. Yep, 1984. So anyways, I just thought that was proof of the panic for sure.
Well, it's kind of like if they can do that and they get this panic and they can make it illegal, well, then they can make real things. They could take down real things because they think it's illegal. And then eventually apologize, kind of like the laptop, right? They said, oh, the laptop's fake, and they took it down and they were able to censor it. And then about a year later, it went, oh, I guess it was real. Oops. So that's the slippery slope. Now, on one hand, I could understand. I certainly don't want Trump videos out there where he's saying awful stuff and then we have to push back on that sort of stuff forever. But I think if there could be anything made, maybe it says that it has to like say somewhere. Is there, even if you just have to put a little thing on like AI generated voice, maybe that could be an answer to that. Because I can kind of see both sides. I can, but you shouldn't be making things illegal though. Ultimately, that is the way worst response that could ever be. And like you're saying, that starts being Ministry of Truth, Ministry of Propaganda, and it can just be the slipperiest slope there is.
I actually imagine going down like, hold on, boys, we're going for a ride. Yeah, but it's nothing new to us. And I don't know, Brad, did you want me to get to this?
Well, I have just a couple more things on this, if you'll humor me for a bit. So I have, where is it? Let's see. So one thing I thought was funny that I just wanted to show is A good friend, Ed Krasenstein, guys. Donald Trump, this is a poll he did where he tried his hardest to get, and people says Trump was found guilty of fraud. He had businesses, blah, blah, blah. He was held liable in court of sexual abuse. His properties made millions from foreign governments, looking to curry favors while he was president. That is such a ridiculous. This is such a loaded statement. I can't believe it's even allowed. But nevertheless, who are you voting for? 114,000 votes. Donald Trump, 80%. This dude is like a total Democrat chill. He's got 1 million followers, okay? And he, this is a Democrat shill platform, got 80% Trump. So it doesn't matter. I think he's done it before. But now he posted this. Again, this is just to show how disingenuous these people are, right? So first, before we do that, we're going to go to this, right? So here's the real tale of the tape. Here's the Kamala rally. Half the floor is empty. Half the people aren't even in the seats. Massive crowd for Kamala's first rally in Wisconsin. LOL, right? So we have fun with these things. Because in comparison, you have, Trump rallies, which look like Woodstock. Okay. Trump rallies literally look like Woodstock. Kamala rallies, look at this. This is down in Wildwood. This is one of my favorite ones. Right. That's massive. Okay. And there's no shortage of them. He puts on things like that every week. And it's, for the most part, it's just him. Almost always.
Here are 4 reasons why you need to start taking care of your liver.
Okay, there we go. So now this is Ed Krasinski's pushback. And so remember when Republicans used to mock Biden for holding such small rallies? Well, here's Kamala Harris rally in Atlanta. Oh, yeah. Oh. So it's packed, right? I went, oh, damn, there she is. She's packing rallies. This is like the shockingest thing on planet Earth, right? They just happened to see this because when I went to get it ready to show how many followers he has. But then I found, and it's just more fake news. Guess what's not mentioned in this post? What? Rapper Megan Thee Stallion was performing at the Atlanta thing. And, I had never heard of her before this, but I was looking her up. 32 million followers on Instagram, okay? And she's literally promoting it. She has on her X account, she's also promoting it to her 8.2 million followers. So literally they got a superstar from the rap industry, I guess, to come perform. And so this is what happened, okay? They obviously handed these signs out. You think everyone brought the exact same sign? They handed them these at the door. And you could hear her in the background. That sounds like that's... Okay. So obviously, like, these signs they handed. You can hear them, right? Because obviously that's that lady, Megan, talking. And that's what they got to do. They have to bring out big name celebrities to get people. Otherwise, it looks like this. Trump, on the other hand, Trump just brings Trump. Okay? This isn't for, no one's performing here, right? Metallica isn't showing up, right? You're not going to see Sepultura isn't going to walk on stage here. Just Donald Trump. Just Donald Trump doing a rally in New Jersey. So, that's the difference. And that's fake news. They're just all so full of fake news. And here we go. And then people are just clowning them everywhere.
What do we want? Free healthcare, walkable cities, a living wage, affordable housing. And what are you willing to sacrifice to get it? Absolutely nothing. And what are we going to do if the Democrats don't give it to us? Vote for them anyway.
Oh, classic. Oh my gosh.
Is that great? I got one more. Here you go. So describe a hypothetical Harris presidency. I can't afford to live. Please help in literally any way. And a rubber bizarre laughter. Oh my God. This right here.
That's my meme.
The Paris presidency in a nutshell.
Sorry, you know it's good when it starts the cough. Oh my gosh, that's great. Yeah, and that's what I was saying. People are just experiencing it. They're feeling it. We don't need to be told what we're feeling it. And that's the beautiful thing. Even though it's been hard for all of us, like living like our pocketbooks and everything, it's been super necessary for the rest of the public to wake up. So did you want me to continue on with what I had?
Oh yeah. So would you have the Newsmax thing? Is that
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I want to just first play. This is kind of along the lines of, the government, the deep state as we know it, their plan is to destroy us from within, a collapse from within, infiltrate from within, demoralize from within. That's always been the name of the game. Well, if you looked into the federal government and you're aware about the fractional reserve banking, this was set into place a long time ago to cause a collapse from within. And this was just a really good video I found. Actually, Elon had posted it, so that's how I found him. But his name is Peter Ong, I believe.
Oh yeah.
And he does daily videos on like economics, stuff to do with freedom and also Bitcoin and stuff. But I just thought it was really good what he says here. And hopefully it makes sense to all you guys.
Last month, interest on the national debt ate up 76% of income tax, meaning 3 out of every $4 you currently give the IRS are actually going to China or Wall Street. The numbers come from my based colleague E.J. Antoni, who sources directly from the Office of Management and Budget. They report that for the month of June, the U.S. government collected $185 billion in individual income taxes, and it spent $140 billion on debt interest. So 3 out of every $4 straight out the back door. Elon Musk noticed, adding, quote, "I'm glad 76% of the income tax I pay goes directly to important things like interest on past government incompetence." On an annual basis, that's up 8 points in a single year. And if it keeps up, the federal government will be paying more in debt interest than it collects in income tax in, about 6 years and 9 months. What's driving all this is that income taxes are actually down, which normally only happens in a recession, while the cost to service the national debt has exploded by 33% in a single year, thanks to trillion-dollar deficits and rising debt costs. Put them together, and in the past 12 months, Washington paid $868 billion in interest alone, on track to hit $1,140 billion in the coming year. For perspective, in George W.'s first year, the entire federal deficit was $158 billion. Now we're paying 5 times that in debt interest alone, and next year we'll be paying 7 times. For even worse perspective, if the federal government actually tried to live within its means, it would have to cut nearly $2 trillion in annual spending, which would mean a 50% cut to everything outside Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid. Yes, even the military and those top men at Homeland Security. Sadly, 50% cuts are not on the table, meaning it will get worse. For perspective, it took precisely 192 years for Washington to accumulate its first trillion in national debt. It took us just 100 days to add the last trillion. So how did we get here? 2 men, FDR and Richard Nixon, followed by 50 years of politicians with less willpower than a Wall Street banker at a strip club. So FDR broke the gold backing of the dollar back in 1933, and Nixon finished it off by banning foreign countries exchanging dollars for gold. This meant the Fed could print unlimited amounts of money, meaning it could finance unlimited federal deficits, which is what it did. To illustrate, when FDR took office, the accumulated federal debt since 1789 was just $22 billion. After FDR, that exploded 20-fold by Nixon, and then it exploded nearly 100 times to today's $35 trillion. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. We are not getting 50% spending cuts absent a civilization-ending crisis, meaning the only realistic solution is to go back the way we came, limit the money printing. In theory, of course, Washington could just do this using, say, Milton Friedman's so-called K% rule. But given the incentives to buy elections and reward donors, Washington needs the physical constraint of hard money backing. This could mean backing with gold, as is traditional. It could mean Bitcoin someday. It could even mean a basket of commodities like oil or grain, which would be an improvement. Alas, given hard backing is not remotely on the political radar, we are in for a lot more debt and a lot more inflation. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Yeah, and he has a lot of good stuff on there when I went to his channel. Really good breakdown. And he's obviously not a fearmonger or anything, but he's just saying, look at what it is. This is definitely going to continue. And eventually, we all know that the system will collapse. It was designed to collapse. But the thing is, we are aware of this. So, investing, it could be in gold, it could be in Bitcoin, it could be buying physical things in your home, to wait out, a possible recession or collapse, whatever they have planned. I believe that we are very much ready for it, and we don't have fear. I think that's the biggest thing, is we're not afraid of it. And that's the biggest way they had control over us, was through the resources. It's really communism is what it is. You want this, you want that, you must obey your government. Well, the more you can separate from your government and be your own individual entity, you have your freedom. And that's what the MAGA movement's been all about. It's so beautiful. And so I have a very strong hope we'll do just fine. But they will throw everything at us. So obviously be vigilant and aware, but no fear, always moving forward.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. And with that money that they're paying to the Federal Reserve, yeah, it might be going filtered through them, I guess, technically, but that money is getting whacked up. It's all a big joke. These people, the people who are getting paid the money, print the money, everything is kind of a joke. That's why taxes are kind of ridiculous. That's why Trump pushed back on that. I think he's going to push back on it even more. And I like that he's even making the idea of how ridiculous taxes are kind of the lead to his thing. Even with the no taxes on tips, that's something that helps a lot of people who it sucks to work for tips and have to pay money on that, because a lot of times you are allowed to get paid less than minimum wage. A lot of times those people are getting paid less than minimum wage because they're working for tips, and then they also have to pay taxes on their tips. So that's great. There was some talk about Trump behind the scenes possibly talking about even ending federal income tax altogether, which wasn't explicitly confirmed, but it also wasn't explicitly denied either, which I thought was interesting. And he knows that this money is just being wasted. That is literally, I believe the reason they do it, why they tax us, is not because they need the money for things. I think it's more because they want to, I think they're sick, and I think they get a little bit of joy out of using our own money to further institute things that control us, but also being poor is a form of control. You're not as mobile. You can't do as much. Can't reach out as much. You have to work all day and all night. That is a form of control. Keeping people busy at work is a way to control the public. You don't want a public actually living their lives. So I think it's all about control. And the way to break that is breakdowns like that and figuring it all out. Now, another thing too is with this money, they do use it. It's not like they just throw it out, or else inflation would go backwards if they were just destroying the money. But they use it again, and it's cyclical, and it goes around in circles. And these big bankers, they're also connected to big corporations, and they're all friends. And I believe that they circle the money around. That's my theory. I think that's what a lot of the financial aid is. I think they're sending it overseas to be washed, and then it gets whacked up amongst their assets and for their programs and that sort of stuff. That is my own personal theory, because obviously they already have so much money. Why do you need $3 trillion in our tax money when you print the money and are already infinitely rich? Yes. So none of that makes sense. But what happens with a lot of this money, or a lot of the money that they steal in any various ways? I think they hit on it in this Newsmax piece here. And we're going to play this real fast because this is crazy. And then we'll start wrapping up because I didn't realize it's actually 5 o'clock already.
The measure in politics, unfortunately, is how much money have you raised. Ironically, it's also the easiest thing to track. So we did. And holy rusted metal, Batman did a bunch of people find a bunch of stuff that appears to not add up on where and how that money is getting into Democrat coffers. Thanks to a group called Election Watch, who compiled millions, and when I say millions, it's millions of data points from the Federal Election Commission, the FEC website. We were able to find out that in the past few years, over $200 million of political donations have been funneled through the Democrats' fundraising platform called Act Blue from a fairly small circle of people who are almost exclusively over the age of 65, retired, very liberal, lower to middle income class, and from our research, it appears that these people, most of them, don't even know these donations are being made in their name. It's not their money. They call these people Smurfs or money mules, people who have knowingly donated to Democrats via Act Blue once before, but then their identity is cloned or stolen and used to make multiple donations from an unknown source, but still in their name. Again, this is all publicly available information from state and federal websites that are very easy to verify should you want to look them up. Take this woman from Louisiana. She's a 74-year-old woman, worked a middle-income job most of her life, yet according to FEC data, and we're withholding their names, in the last 7 years has made $573,447 in donations to Democrats. And here's where it gets really weird. She did it in over 1,400 individual transactions, averaging $76 per donation. And it doesn't seem to come from this person's bank account. They would have seen that volume of money, and judging by our available research, it doesn't appear she has these type of assets. Nothing against her. On certain days, like October 16th in 2018, she or someone using her identity, according to the FEC, made 71 individual transactions totaling $3,145. Folks, that would mean she would have to have made more than 5 donations an hour if she were to sleep for 8 hours a night. But what's even crazier is when you zoom out and look at all the donations over 7 years for this woman, or at least under her name, it's just not natural human behavior to donate at this frequency. No, the normal people with this type of liquid cash make a few large donations and then they move on. But here's another.
Yep, that is definitely someone is skirting election donation laws with that way, and it's probably bad people. This is one of the things that came out when they were doing the NXIVM trial. People in NXIVM were funneling money to Hillary Clinton, I think it was Claire Bronfman, through people that worked there. So they were giving them the money because you could only do so much. Just ask Dinesh D'Souza. That's what he went to jail for. He went to jail for $10,000 because you're only allowed to donate $10,000. There was a Senate candidate for New York Senate, and he wanted to donate. He did $10,000, and then through his wife did $10,000. But since it's considered the same thing, he went to freaking jail for that, for doing $20,000 instead of $10,000. Now these people, they funnel millions. Look at what Zuckerberg did last election. Zuckerberg's $500 million in donations, but it wasn't to a direct candidate, but it was to the people who are running the election. These people are evil. Then that's a lot of interesting donations for Kamala Harris. So you're telling me someone's just doing what? A $10 donation every 5 minutes for 4 months in a row? There's no way.
Well, later on,
they found a ton of them.
Later on the report, they even have down to it being a donation every 30 seconds. And you just can't do that. You just can't fill that out and do that. So I believe this way they're trying to bypass that. The watchdog groups that look for people that donate a big amount of money by doing this, whether it's like a AI generated thing or whatever, they're funneling money in a way that they can't be tracked. And I'm glad that they caught it. And I think it's awesome that all eyes are on, all hands are on deck. We're all watching and we're all trying to catch ways they're interfering with our elections. So yeah, there's a full report of that and it's really, really good.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting. If we have played the whole thing if we weren't strapped for time. It is 9:02 now, so we're gonna get to some thank yous for you guys. We've all been very generous. Kitsko says, I had a pastor on Facebook telling me I had no right to judge. I told him the churches quit protecting kids years ago, so I wouldn't be taking his advice. He named us a cult. I said, maybe. No testicles, though. Yeah, so I get it. That is in the spirit, right? God says, don't judge. And there's a lot of verses about, hey, man, they'll get theirs when it comes. Don't wish harm on your enemies and stuff. So I get it. Definitely, I could see that. But it seemed like this pastor might have had a ulterior motive. But like, yeah, you could say don't judge, but also you have to push back on the pervertedness and some of the crazy blasphemy, right? Wouldn't you agree?
Well, yeah, that's such a good point, because you have that. You have, do not judge, love thy enemies. Jesus even says, pray for your enemies. But then he went to where the tax collectors were selling stuff in the temple and threw it over and said, you guys are vipers and you're going to burn in hell. So, there is, yeah, there's a line to be crossed. But I do feel that in the Bible, it does go into saying like, sex between a man and a man or a woman and a woman is considered sin. And I know that's a strong statement. I also am for the freedom of people. So I feel like my line really goes to the children and what we're putting out there and what we're trying to put out to the public is considered normal. That needs to stop. That stuff needs to be in, bars with the doors and the windows closed, and they can do whatever the heck they want, but don't put it on the main screen. And I think that's a good place to draw the line. Also in the church, it should be something similar to that as well.
Yeah, I think that's the line, right? The public and children. Again, it's America. You grow up and you feel like you're gay, be gay. This is America, right? If you want to become a transgender, become a transgender. Don't push it on the kids and keep it out of the freaking streets. There's, many gay people are probably disgusted by the pride events. I'm sure a whole group, probably more than aren't, probably are saying, what, you've made us into a mockery. So anyway, that's the whole thing. I appreciate the comment, Kitsko, and I agree with what you were saying. Dick Sept says, hi, Brad and Abby. Great show. Hi. Hi, Dick Sept. NV Runner also says, great show. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Astro Emmy says, what are they going to do when she starts talking without a script? She's as bad as Biden without one. That's when she starts calculating. Oh, my gosh, right? I agree 1,000,000%. It is going to be amazing. There's also another thing they're trying to start. I was watching another like MSNBC or one of those where they were saying that how Trump is scared to debate Kamala, and that he said he's not going to commit to one until she's the exact candidate. And they had this whole spin on how he's scared and he ain't going to be able to compete. And I was thinking in my head how laughable it is. I downloaded it because I can't wait to put the compare contrast once like all the people who were saying he was scared to go against Biden and then watching them die inside after watching that debate. So he is going to wipe the floor with her. She can't answer a pointed question. Actually, hold on. I have a video with that. This one's really quick because, again, I know we're strapped from time. But hold on, if I can find it. Here we go. All right. I have to share this.
Experiencing record inflation. Experiencing record inflation, the worst in 30 years, way beyond expectations. OPEC didn't increase oil production. Can you tell us a little bit about how you would prevent the new spending and your Build Back Better agenda from exacerbating the problem? And also, what else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up, and families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up.
Hold on. We know. See, that's the total stall. Like she knows. She just asked you this. Steve Burrell.
That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously.
No answer yet,
But
guys.
there is also a point that is important to make on the Build Back Better framework. One, it is designed to make it less expensive for working people to live.
It failed. What do you mean? Like, it's already in the books. Your framework doubled or actually more like tripled everything. Oh gosh, I love it.
It was specifically designed to bring down the costs of childcare and increase accessibility and availability. Designed to bring down the cost of elder care.
Oh my God.
Well, it needs to be redesigned.
And make it available to all those working families that need that support and need that help. And Build Back Better is not going to cost anything. We're paying for it.
Okay, so yeah, sorry.
No, that is so good.
That's the
That is
best
so
thing
good.
ever.
She just states what's happening and she has no solution. That's wonderful.
That's why I love Trump. That is one of the greatest reasons. Because Trump, straight up, he will just come out and be like, well, we're lowering costs on this. We're bringing this down. We're going to do this, which will usually cause this happen. And we're going to bring this in. He has an actual plan, an economic plan that will lead to change. They just tell you what the results are going to be. They never tell you what they're going to do because they have no idea. But they'll just like, we're going to bring that down and we're going to help the poor and we're going to do this. They just tell you the results. They never tell you how to get there. And honestly, when Trump goes to debate her, he should just focus on that. Instead of getting sucked into the blah, 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 he should just like, when a question like that happens, he should just be like, but what are you going to do, Kamala? And then he goes, I'll tell you what I would do. I'm going to cut regulations on XYZ, and I'm going to bring down costs on this, and that'll help small businesses reinvest money into this. And, you know, because I've seen him. I wish I could quote verbatim some of the things he said, because it's actually pretty masterful. Clearly, the dude's there with economists studying these things. So he knows what he's talking about. So honestly, he should just focus on that, and he will just wipe the floor with her. So it's going to be funny to watch them.
Listen, you motherfuckers.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. Our good buddy Sammy Squirrel, good to see you, buddy, says, I sent you a message on True Social asking if you consider making a video honoring Melania Trump using a song I picked out that is as beautiful as she is. That's cool.
Oh my
Look forward to
gosh.
seeing
I
that.
would love to do that. Honestly, Melania does need a video for herself. The whole family is an amazing family, and that sounds great. Yeah, I'll check it out after the show. Sounds awesome.
That does sound awesome. And yes, Sammy Squirrel, I do love Godzilla. I forgot. He had actually messaged me about Godzilla not too long ago. But yeah, I used to watch them. There was a time on Netflix. This is maybe back, I don't know, anywhere 5 to 10 years ago, where they put up all the old 60s and 70s Godzilla films on Netflix, even, I guess, the 90s, 80s and 90s one. And me and my friends, we would just sit there like every day. We'd watch a new one. And it's their best. They're literally dudes in costumes, like fighting with each other, you know? But they're
It's
just
awesome,
amazing.
man.
I love them. They're thoroughly entertaining in my mind. And Astro Emmy again here says, Brad and Abbey, best duet on Rumble. Well, that's a massive claim there. There are quite a lot of great duos on Rumble, but thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. You guys are awesome. You're so sweet. And do you want to end with the video I just put out?
I sure do. Yes, guys. Oh man, it's 9:12.
I know. I realized
sorry.
it's story hour is probably going right now.
Sorry,
So
yeah, guys.
we love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been really awesome. I'm glad to kind of be back.
Yeah.
We did miss last week, so it's good to be up and running again, even though I'm a little still under the weather. And Brad's been amazing the whole time. So as usual, thank you so much for joining us. Give us a thumbs up, guys. We would really appreciate it. It helps us a lot.
Yes, and thanks, Kicksco. Says declaration still needs a redo too. Yes, I still agree that's an awesome idea. The fifth dimension. And Sammy the Squirrel says, shoot me an email. I'll send you a list of videos. Yeah, dude, I'm sure it's pretty freaking epic. And we're going to leave you out here with Abbey's. This is called Focus on the Mission. And I saw it just before the show, guys. It's really good.
So we will continue to fight. We're going to make America great again. Very simple. When people fight MAGA, they say, we're going to fight. I watch Biden. We're going to fight MAGA. We're going to stop MAGA. Let's make America great again.
What's going, Mr. President? You'll find out.
The danger to democracy comes from the radical left, not from the right. This November, we're going to stand up to this rising tyranny of sickness, lawlessness, and death, and we are going to take back our country. We're going to take it back.
All it is, MAGA, make America great again.
We will not be intimidated. We will persevere. We will stand tall in the storm. We will march forward into the torrent, and we, in the end, will win.
Looking for more ways to support Badlands Media? Head over to badlandsmedia.tv and click on the Support Badlands button, or go straight to badlandsmedia.tv/boost. Link in the description. You can now give a Badlands boost, just like a Rumble Rant, only better. Support your favorite shows with a boost anytime, even if you're not watching live. Your donation will go directly to Badlands with no middleman. You could also shop America First companies at the Badlands shop. With every purchase, you'll be supporting Badlands Media and America First business. Another great option is becoming a Badlander. With this, you can opt in to be alerted to new shareable content and be our street team. By all means, before you leave, don't forget to click that thumbs up and help your favorite Badlands show reach the top of the Rumble leaderboard. Thank you all for helping us grow Badlands Media. We are the news now.